Hello, and welcome to episode 50 of American Dreamland. I'm Max
Ooh,
Chavez.
I'm Misty Stone.
I'm Christopher Walken.
That's right. We are
Yeah.
celebrating an arbitrary point because we totally forgot our 1 year anniversary. Yeah, so episode 50. And to celebrate, we're going back to praise the one true cryptid paranormal researcher, non-broadcasting edition,
Yes.
one Stan Johnson, and a movie that gratefully disrespects his memory but
Vindication.
vindicates all of his claims and perceptions about Bigfoot. We watched the fairly big um David Paulides documentary, American Sasquatch, Man, Myth, or Monster?
Yes, I think that's what it was. Can I give a quick background of Dave Paulides for everyone?
Sure.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Just some of you might know Dave Paulides. He's actually pretty big in the conspiracy theory world, and really for his missing 411 campaign, shows and books he's written. I would say that launched him into the zeitgeist and somewhat in outside of the conspiracy theory realm. He did start as a former law enforcement officer, and he claims on his websites he has a couple, being a researcher and author, which I guess he is an author. Um, Also, what I
He is
found
for
fun,
sure an author. He has written a
he is
book.
for- he has books. What I thought was fun is that in 1996, while he was a court liaison, he was charged with a misdemeanor count of falsely soliciting for a charity.
Mm,
Also, just apropos of nothing, he makes a big deal about how he was um in law enforcement for 20
Hmm.
years. And I noticed that he transferred to the San Jose Police Department in
Yep.
1977 after years in the Fremont Police Department, which means that this happened around his 20-year anniversary as a cop. So that's interesting.
and on top of that, he says that he was in HR departments in Silicon
Yes.
Valley. That's even more cursed, honestly. Like it goes
Yeah,
from
he
cursed
says
being like being a cursed profession as a cop, and then just moving to a different cursed profession.
didn't he say
Can
he
I
has a master's in HR?
Yeah,
I think he did, yeah.
Which is that's crazy.
it's so
Well, honestly, HR are the cops of the company, basically.
They
yeah.
are.
Can
So
we
it makes
also
sense.
can I just also say I couldn't find the only reference I could find to his marriage status, because I watched this documentary with my girlfriend, and since she's our editor, is constantly commenting about, like, here's us talking about divorce guys. I could only find one reference to his wife, and it was about the death of their son, about how they were mourning and all of that. So condolences to the family. But also, does this not sound like the most divorced guy ever? I'm a former cop who went into HR and then got
Hmm.
really into Bigfoot.
Bigfoot, but
It's
then switched it. We switched it for a little bit with his missing 411 on their website. Their mission is that they're dedicated to raising awareness about unexplained vanishings in national parks, wilderness areas, and other remote locations.
yeah.
And I think the first uh documentary of his for missing 411 came out in like 2016. I don't know. I've watched a couple of them. I don't know if either of you two remember this. Like, I remember people actually being like, that's so interesting that there's all these missing people in the national parks. They're not keeping track of them. That was a big thing. He got like a campaign started, a movement started to try to get the parks to track all their missing people. And
That's
at
good,
first,
I guess.
It seems a little legit, right? In the beginning, I think people were like, "Oh yeah, he's a former cop. He just really cares about these missing cases that are unexplained." But then he starts making weird connections to things, and he'll be like, "How did this kid who disappeared on this by this river, how'd he end up on top of the mountain?" And then we
Yeah,
started
he was
getting
last
into,
seen at the river.
yeah,
Is the
then
river
we
by the mountain? I can see I'm a 6-year-old with parents who are mildly inattentive or whatever. I'm gonna go run up the mountain, and then you'll find evidence of me because I tragically died on the mountain. Like it,
but
it's sad. We
he
should search for these people, but it's not strange what happens to them.
well, but he argues, is there a vortex? Well, technically, I guess to be fair to him, he doesn't argue anything, right? He doesn't have, he won't commit to a concrete theory, but he will tell people you should be open to other explanations, which
Yeah,
indicates then people realized, oh wait, before this project of his, he had published a Bigfoot paper in around
self-published.
2013, self-published, where where him and a couple other people claimed to have analyzed 111 samples of Bigfoot DNA.
Yeah,
And skeptics, scientists alike, geneticists have reviewed this paper. Completely fails to substantiate its claims because I think if you actually found Bigfoot DNA, we'd all have been talking about it in 2013.
I mean, we'll definitely get to it because he definitely uses this as like
Mm-hmm.
authority, and at least in the movie he talks about it in a way that like from a layman's perspective kind of discredits a lot of his points. Cuz first of all, I will say this about like he claims that his origin of researching Bigfoot was when he was working in HR. He was asked by two separate executives who didn't know each other to research their Bigfoot experiences.
Honestly, I would believe that. Like, just some crazy CEOs like, I want to find Bigfoot.
I would
Yeah,
believe it if one, the fact that it's two and that they're not connected, and then is also saying like these guys didn't know what was going on. Because I feel like the only way two is plausible is if a different executive comes in and it's like, hey Dave, we noticed you're spending a lot of company time on not your job. And it's like, oh, the CEO asked me to do a side project. What is it? Researching Bigfoot. It's funny you say that. When I was a kid, so I'm not saying it was coordinated, but
Yeah,
like the second
he
guy would
lied.
have
He
to
lied
have
to that.
the second guy would have to have an indication that he was researching Bigfoot before he goes like, oh, I can do this. This is gonna be good.
Nice.
well, do you want to
They
know
asked me
something
to
fun?
prove Bigfoot. Yes.
He's hosting a missing 411 cruise next month.
A cruise?
Yeah,
What?
for
Where are they going?
let's see. Oh, let me check because it was on his website. Let's see,
Oh
where
my
are
god!
they going?
What if they come
Alaska.
to the town that I am in right now?
Oh
They're
my
going to
god.
Alaska. The inaugural missing 411 cruise, guys. It set sail. It set
Oh
sail
my
on
god!
9/11.
Oh
9/11.
man.
Oh,
Oh,
we'll
Yeah,
be
it
they're
couldn't have
closed.
on
set
the
sail on 9/11.
Yeah, we'll be closed. Oh
they're
no,
it's
no.
7 night journey from Seattle
Mm,
to 3 Alaska ports.
okay. What are the ports? Does it say?
It doesn't say
Mm,
in the description. Ooh, they're gonna have a UFO and Portal Town Hall event though.
where?
Oh.
I think on the ship, unfortunately.
That's I I the true crime thing is one a little baffling to me because it is just like unless there's something really unique about the crime, like it's hard for me to like I don't get like how many times you can do it over again. Cuz yes, I watch a lot of slop admittedly, but like is every episode of Law and Order the same? Yes, but sometimes they'll throw in a gay Muslim terrorist subplot, and you're like, how did we get here? Or like Survivor, it's basically the same game every season, but sometimes you'll have someone who's like, I think the pyramids were built by aliens, against someone who's like a professional skeptic on their tribe. And it's like, this is going to be interesting content. Like, it just seems like the whole thing is, and I don't want to be too like, it's bad to say this, but all true crime is basically just like men bad because they did this horrible thing to a woman, and sometimes a mom goes crazy and kills her children. Like that, how much variation can you get?
There's not much unless I think the only ones who are unique, I know there's one that a podcast I think now that focuses on how incompetent police are in
I would,
crime and
yeah,
how
that would be like the best version of that.
yeah. I think that's the only way to make it interesting because people don't really realize like I think Richard Ramirez is a famous example of how incompetent the police were or Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah. First of all, how dare you bring up Richard Ramirez without mentioning the politician and prosecutor who really fucked up. RIP to a great one, girl boss Dianne Feinstein, former senator from California, who I think was either mayor of San Francisco or district attorney for San Francisco when he was killing up there. And then, yeah, of course, famously with Richard the Jeffrey Dahmer, the police had one of his victims, and it's like, well, we have a child who's been horrifically abused and tried to be turned into a zombie, who's what was he, Cambodian or Laotian or something? It's like we should
Yeah. Yeah.
clearly give it to this really creepy older white dude and just say it's fine. We'll just hand this child back over, no
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah.
No
And
questions.
yeah, the child was only 14 and I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, had a head injury at this point.
Yeah. Also, the reason the police found the child was because they were called and were arresting the child because they were just wandering, appearing to be drunk and naked in the middle of a street in Milwaukee. So they were like, this is weird. We should pick that up. And then we're just like, nah, it's fine. We should just give this clearly distressed person to the person who they're frightened of. Even if it was drunk, just leave them in the drunk tank. They can pick them up in the morning. Jesus Christ. Like,
Yeah, no. I think that's the only way to make true crime interesting and then I guess respectful. I think everyone knows the conversation now of how disrespectful a lot of true crime content is.
yeah.
Of just like, this is the grueling details of how this person died. And then, of course, people aren't caring about, I don't know, man, that they have family that are still alive and probably don't
Yeah.
want to hear somebody.
A true crime thing that was able to ignore all of these problems? The HBO documentary miniseries Chimp Crazy. Because one, that is a crime I'm interested in. You're like,
Mhm.
there's a chimp smuggling ring in America. I'm down.
Yeah,
And
tell
then
me
it
more.
and it is basically like tries to like humanize the victims more so than like it's tragic, and more so just like, yeah, these are people and da da da. And even a little bit is like, I guess because it's not murder, it's just chimp smuggling, it's a little bit easier to um humanize the perpetrators. uh, Also, I'm not saying this was done in an ethical way, but it's also the same people who did Tiger King who are also just like, oh, this is a normal murder for hire plot, but it involves a crazy man who owns a tiger who has a connection to the inspiration of Tony Montana from Scarface. And I'm like, yeah, that is an actual crime I want a documentary on.
Yeah, yeah. And Alan Cummings was in Jim Crazy, who I love, a hero of mine.
hmm Shout out Nightcrawler.
Shout out Nightcrawler, a bisexual king. We love him.
hmm
But anyway, back to our friend, Dave.
Yeah,
Now,
Dave.
Dave has gone back. He's full circle now. Bigfoot, missing for one.
hmm
Now we're back to Bigfoot. Now we're combining them. Because maybe,
It's
just maybe, these interdimensional creatures are taking people in the national parks.
yeah, I mean, that seems to be I, I will say this. This is exponentially better. Okay, that's not true. It has a better produced quality than any film we've watched for this podcast. That being said, I do think I'm always going to have a soft spot for Dreams from My Real Father, just because it is such a unique, insane part of insanity. And then to find out that the guy is just some of his other thoughts. Like he was like convinced Michelle Obama was going to like run and steal the 2024 election.
That would have
Uh,
been fun.
Yeah. Oh, and of course he had an event for Larry Sinclair, which was great. RIP to a problematic king.
I often think, man, if if these people's theories were true, what a world we'd live in. It'd be so much more fun. You know, if if Bigfoot's out there, he's an interdimensional creature, he's kidnapping kids and randos that are hiking for why? I don't know. Maybe they're
Yeah.
going back to the fifth dimension with him, maybe they're lovers. What if you fall in love?
Oh. No, see, they don't
Did
have the
they
courage.
show that the one of the hair samples that they got was like half Bigfoot, half person?
Which the reason they said it, okay, like let's just start getting into this is again, the reason I started this episode saying vindication for Stan Johnson is first of all, the reason he's the king is not because of him being well researched
No.
or because of the ideas he has. It's his moral conviction. He, unlike stand up comedians, is a real truth teller because similar I think we'll compare our first two episodes because I was editing some clips for from our Mel's whole episode is like Mel is just fun because he is just a liar and will not take any out of a situation. He could have disappeared. He never had to go to coast again after the first time
Mm-mm.
or even the third or fourth time. But he went on 5 times and then the last time just said like, I was with some Basque nationalist in the rural Nevada and we found a second hole while I was smoking totally not peyote.
Yes.
And Stan Johnson is just like, this is my truth as he's like he's like a version he's like the happy optimistic version of David Lynch's like Lost Highway where there's that scene where it's like I don't like cameras because I like to remember things my own way. It's like, yeah, Stan has this interpretation of something that happened to him and he likes that and that's the story he's gonna tell. God bless him.
He says, from a physics point of view, Stan, it can't be.
But I don't know, like I said, I have a 7th grade education. I don't know anything about that physics, but I do know that I can travel thousands and thousands of miles with their help in about 5 to 10 seconds.
And he was so criticized.
Half
So
the episode was
ridiculed.
just saying like you're ruining our totally legitimate movement.
And now, look, he was ahead of his time. This
Yeah,
man,
he was truly.
he was ahead of his time for sure.
But yeah, this is basically
But now, I feel like Dave is coming for his
no.
glory.
He's not because Dave is.
He can't be allowed. He can't be allowed to steal.
Yeah, he can't be allowed. I think we should push on Dave. I think you stole this idea from Stan Johnson.
Yeah.
Give him credit. He at least needs to give Stan credit.
Absolutely, the real OG of modern research, Bigfoot research, and I think my problem is that this is definitely on the more Mel side of the equation because he's just like Bigfoot's big. I'm gonna get as much Bigfoot as possible, and I'll mention it's just like it's just right wing enough where it's like it can't really understand or just let things be because
Oh, did anyone research the congressman
oh
that was
my god,
interviewed?
fuck Chris, were you not on one of the UFO episodes? Basically, if there's a UFO episode, there's a 50-50 chance I'm gonna be bitching about this man for like 20 minutes. Fuck Tim Burchett. You're not a serious man. Your job before Congress was as county mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee, which sounds like a real position until you find out the guy who replaced him was the fucking Undertaker Kane from WWE. Fuck this guy. He is a psyop. If Israel bombs a children's hospital, I guarantee you within 72 hours, this man is coming out and going like, Bigfoot crashed the flying saucer on Roswell. I've seen the documents. Fuck this guy. So yes, we have researched him.
That was good. I needed that.
Literally, we had to pause the movie when he came on because my girlfriend was shocked because I saw his like the host was just like, you know, now even a respected congressman is saying something in the back of my head. It's like, it can't be him. It can't be him. No. And then it shows his face and I just yell, oh, fuck off. And she's just like, what the hell? It's like, sorry. Him and the slippy toad looking motherfucker whose name I will now never remember are like my most hated Congress people. Yeah, so he also like Instagrams him as making skateboards and stuff, and then is just on all this UFO disclosure bullshit, but will not release anything. He's a coward, unlike Mike Gravel, who famously was like, I'm gonna read a bunch of classified documents about how we're doing war crimes in Vietnam on the Senate floor, so it has to be part of the congressional record, and I cannot get arrested because I have immunity.
Do you think he's going to be on the cruise?
That's a after he retires from Congress type of thing.
What
He's
was the
gonna
name
go
of it
to
again?
the congressman.
No,
Tim.
the name of the cruise.
Oh yeah, the cruise.
Oh, it's the Missing 411 cruise.
Yep.
September 11th, they ship off.
I can't believe
If it
they would
sinks,
ignore...
it could be our new 9/11.
I already have a 9/11. It's called Roanoke's birthday.
Yes, that's true, Max. But also, what would be so great is if a school of orcas just decide to like attack that, because it can't be that big of a cruise ship, right?
No.
It's one of the Royal Caribbean cruise ships.
I don't know if you got to this part of the film yet, but they mention Alaska Bigfoot.
Yeah, they. For everyone listening, I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched like the first, I don't know, third of it. And it did briefly mention Alaskan Bigfoot when it was just talking about generally like all the Bigfoot myths and like the different Native American tribes that believe in Bigfoot.
Yeah. I think this is a good time to talk about. I mentioned it a little bit in our Dogman episode last week, but just like, what is with the like weird connection to like Native American stuff? Like, they're like so like lately it seems like so much of the scripted stuff is like, no, natives knew about it, so it's cool. And I think that because like they have so many people saying like, first of all, I love how the centerpiece is a woman who is a Native American, and she tells a story, and it is legitimately just a Bigfoot encounter. Like, it is like, and she doesn't even say like, well, according to the history of my people, she's just like, I live in the middle of nowhere and I saw a monster and it scared me and my children.
I think
like,
people just think it lends credence to it and makes it like seem cooler.
But it is just annoying because I think what got me is like there's this guy who like was like a Navajo ranger and then was explaining like, according to Navajo mythology, all of these things, and that he's so specific about how things are tied into Navajo culture specifically. And then whenever he talks about Bigfoot, it's just like, some Native Americans believe in this concept. And it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what? How do you know? You're not
Well,
that tribe.
there was one that talked about like them just thinking that the Bigfoot were just another tribe, basically, of like very powerful beings,
Yeah.
right? Which
Mhm.
honestly would make sense, and it could have lots of different like variations of it depending on like what specific tribe you're in.
It,
Yeah.
so what you're saying is basically is that then each Native American tribe had its own unique culture and mythology. So just because you're a Native American, you can't say like, oh yeah, no, Bigfoot's a thing our people do. Oh, it's not in my tribal history, but trust me, I heard some
Well,
dudes
yeah,
talking.
because people gonna do that like regardless, right?
I know.
Yeah.
I just take
I mean,
ownership of what you're doing. Like, don't. I think what I really didn't like about this film overall is like it tries to like couch itself in like, no, we're respectable. Like, it's so many things instead of just like, hi, I was a Navajo Ranger for 30 years. I briefly had to hunt Bigfoot because my boss told me to, and I saw a lot of weird UFO shit when I was just in the middle of the desert at night looking for things. Like,
Oh,
cool.
was it
Just
when they
tell
were
me
talking
things.
when they're talking about the like history of encounters and stuff? They briefly mentioned that like in the early 1800s there were some like miners that died or whatever, and
Yeah.
like
mhm.
probably under suspicious circumstances. And then like I don't know who started like, oh no, it was Bigfoot, and then like the local Native American representatives came over and said like, yes, it was Bigfoot. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, I would let them believe it was Bigfoot. Maybe it would ease
So
a bit.
I looked into this a little bit, and he's like, ah, yes, it's a like. Again, the Native Americans at this press conference were not like, here's our history and cultural thing. I think it's basically it's 1920s America. I don't even know if Oregon's letting in black people yet, for reference of just what the
I don't
times were
think they
like.
were.
And then you have a bunch of presumably white miners who die mysteriously in graphic ways. They're mining, which means it has a strong impact on capital in the industry of the time. Um, and I can see, I don't know, and especially when there's suddenly talk of like, oh my God, this happened in Oregon and Washington. We may need to send in the Army or the National Guard and federalize this. I can see why a bunch of Native Americans would, under those circumstances, just get together and go like, we did not do this, please do not send troops into our area, because you are probably, if you don't straight up murder us, there will be lynch mobs that just kill a bunch of us, so we're not involved. Don't deal with this,
It was a Bigfoot.
please.
This is
Yeah,
literally a
it's
plot
Bigfoot.
in a book I'm reading right now where the main character and his tribe are going around to hide bodies of fallen white people that were fighting in the area in Montana at the time so that they don't get blamed for the deaths.
I love how we now have fiction that is just an elaboration of the subplot of what we do in the shadows of having a familiar. Just like, guess I gotta hide another body.
Yes, and I think the theory there was many times back in the day, especially in I just don't think people know a lot about history in terms of
No.
mining and mining wars and how we had like mining wars and how back in the day, yeah, indigenous people were blamed for skirmishes people had in the West during the frontier when it was just one group of trappers wanting to kill another group of trappers.
I mean, like, a great example of just like people not knowing history is like you have these military families who are just like, we've got proud military traditions going back hundreds of years. And it's like, if you were, there was one morally correct thing you could have done if you were in the American army in the 19th century, and that was being a Union soldier. And even then, you were probably forced to do it. And most of the Union army was just like some middle fail son wanting to make a name for himself. So he just like paid for 1,000 people to just arm up, basically like a liege lord in the Middle Ages, of just like, here's my troops, we're gonna shoot some Confederates now.
Yeah.
Like
So much of
Glory,
the army was what?
like the movie Glory.
Yeah. Okay, take the movie Glory, but remove any indication of this dude having a sense of racial justice
Yeah.
or morality, and just be like, I want to be famous.
Do you guys want to hear a review event somebody did on Dave on his missing 411 subreddit?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So one of the top things on the missing 411 subreddit is somebody who said, need to vent. I just paid a bunch of money for VIP tickets and traveled to a conference 4 hours away with my kid, paid for an Airbnb to meet him and get a picture, and he was such a rude dick. Wow. I unfollowed him immediately. I was a fan for 10 years, told him how great I thought he was, and asked for a photo, and he acted all put out and said he didn't have much time. There were people waiting behind me. There was only 4 people. While I'm standing there buying $150 of his books and merch, blown away. He's so full of himself.
So cool.
Mm.
I mean,
So
I don't know. Like, he, first of all, I will say this: he unequivocally has the best beard dye job I've ever seen. Now, is it
yeah,
good? No, not at all. But he does a really decent job with dyeing his hair because he leaves a little bit of gray. He doesn't get too greedy. So it just kind of goes along with his whole look. So if we're just aesthetic values, no, it's terrible. But if we're comparing it on the basics, then he's doing great. He's blowing the competition out of water. George Dory, you have a fake mustache. Buy a black fake mustache. Don't buy a gray fake mustache and then dye it black to think you're gonna trick someone. Like, I don't know what you're doing here, buddy.
Every once in a while, I'll get curious as to like what I would look like with like jet black hair. I feel like it would be there. Maybe I should try it.
Just go full goth look.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or do the like dye to go all goth look, but then just like dress normally like you do, and just like, yeah.
Yeah, basically just like I think I would probably look like cuz like the very like light blue eyes black is very, I feel like it's very rare. I don't know.
yeah, I would say it's very rare. Also, there's a theory on the subreddit now. Looking at the comments of that people have turned on him over in the last couple years. There is a theory that he is gay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm.
And there's somebody claiming that when he was a cop, Dave pulled him over and tried to use his badge and gun to make him do things that goes
Ooh.
against his sexuality. And somebody said, well, his first wife, Leslie, divorced him and his partner, Angie, dumped him. Just saying. So.
I know we're not a video podcast. I just rolled my chair back and started standing up to do a thing. I'm taking that as vindication. Divorce guy confirmed. Undefeated.
So, yeah, Dave has become a controversial figure.
Mm.
Weird how he did a really hard pivot to Bigfoot after apparently his wife left him and recently, and then people are like, hey, how many horrible things can you talk about in the national parks? This also, one of the reasons we're having to speculate, and I'm not saying he needs to, but this man is so cagey about his personal life. Like, not only is nothing available on his, like about his record, like, fine, you don't talk about your private life, that's fine. But it starts to get really weird. Is like, I listened to a couple interviews with him, and I didn't know, I knew he did missing 411, but none of the interviews about Bigfoot elaborated on it. So I just assumed it was a
No.
general true crime thing. The number of things that he'll like allude to but not get into detail, and he provides too much detail so it looks suspicious. It's one thing if you have a misdemeanor of like, what was it, falsifying evidence or whatever, and then like you retire. That's like whatever, like it's not great, but it's like not necessary. I have so many other questions about this. I don't need to get into your character to question your facts. But the fact that he's so big on I was a cop for 20 years and then he
He loves
gets
that,
convicted
yeah.
of a crime when he's been a cop for 20 years, like, just say you were a cop. Like, that's all you have to say.
No, it's all over his websites too. He loves it. It's on his website. He has his own Dave website. Then he has the Missing 411 website. And then he has his Bigfoot website. So he's grifting.
Oh, for sure. You think that the man who is like just being like, I call balls and strikes, here's the evidence I've seen, to just turn in the middle of the movie and then just very defiantly go like, Bigfoot is real and you're an idiot if you don't believe it, and here's my evidence. And then I guess now we can get into this supposed DNA testing. Who wants to cover what his theory on, because he is allegedly a true and blue believer in Bigfoot and the Sasquatch. But he has his own unique theory. Who wants to cover what it is?
You can take us there, Max. What was his theory?
That they're alien human hybrids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, they're not aliens, of course, because they were here before us, right?
Well, we don't know that.
They were from another planet, but they've been here longer.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
as much their planet as it is ours. They just had a planet before the planet.
I mean, obviously, it's much more their planet, but we're using the original. We're Orthodox Johnsonists.
Yes.
Of we believe in the words as written, not the concepts and then applying it to whatever bullshit we're trying to do. So he thinks they're animal-human hybrids, and he says that this is because of his DNA paper, and he claims that it's like, now, the reason I think this is because we can't find any match to the DNA on, what was it, the nuclear side. Basically, he says there's mitochondrial DNA and then nuclear or nucleus DNA, which he says in very binary terms is mitochondrial DNA is from the mother, nuclear DNA is from the father.
No, nuclear DNA is from both.
That's why I said he was very binary about it.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's doing that, and then he says in all of their studies, all that they can definitively identify is that they can identify that the mitochondrial DNA is human, and it has an origin of a woman in the Middle East about 12,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Which, okay, that's good. That's valid. I would agree that if you were to give me this information, this is then human DNA, because that's a lot of how my understanding of, when we're using origin, how we use mitochondrial DNA. He then says that they could not find any existing match of DNA to the nuclear DNA in it. And therefore it must be mysterious and alien. And his response to the critics who say, like, did you think you maybe fucked up the sample, or it was contaminated, or any of these things? He goes like, well, no, because if it's contaminated, it would have said, if I had contaminated it, it would have said, I would have contaminated the whole DNA, and then it would have been, the mitochondrial would have been, what was it?
A Greek
the
man.
Mitochondrial would have been Russian, and then the nuclear would have been Greek. It's not that. I'm just like, dude, that's not how that works.
Weren't they explaining that they got the hair samples or whatever by putting bacon grease on a tree?
Yes.
Yeah.
which is
Which I feel like
okay.
the Stan Johnson Bigfoots wouldn't be dumb enough to be like, oh, bacon grease, yum. Like,
Well,
I don't
and
know.
they're vegan, so why would they want bacon
Yeah,
grease?
no.
I'm sorry. These people are not only you can't just say because was it? It's like sharks or eels or something. Like there are animals who legitimately like have senses on the electromagnetic spectrum, which
Hmm.
would make sense then why they would act weird around more modern wireless technology. And it's like, oh, that's how they avoid it. But it's not that they can sense and they avoid those areas. It's like, and then they trick and do things. It's like, so they're smart enough to sense something weird, know it's a camera, and exactly how to avoid the camera, but they're dumb enough to just lick bacon grease off of a tree.
Yeah, because some of the people believed in the documentary that, like Stan Johnson, that these are higher cognitive beings than us.
Which, first of all, let's go into the thing of just I, I think this is another thing that like Stan Johnson is just like, I know what I know. I barely got an 8th grade education. I met a mountain man when I was in Missouri, and then I saw some weird things in the forest of Oregon. It's like, who knows? Who knows what he subjectively experienced? I can maybe come up with ideas to help me figure out how the world works or have some kind of explanation, but I'll just move on. Like I cannot change what he believes he experienced. What these people are doing is just like you can't like when they're brought up with inconsistencies in their theories or weird stuff, they go like, well, we can't we can't know this exactly because we don't have a Bigfoot, so we don't have the basic information. I'm just like, no, we never saw a dinosaur with feathers. But we believe that not because we got a good vibe, but because we're speculating based on things we can prove. And they're not even doing that. They're not like, well, here's what I would say about Bigfoot based on these provable things. It's just like, I have questions about some of your facts. Well, we don't have Bigfoot, so you can't compare it now, can you?
They
It's
shouldn't
fun.
even,
I love
honestly, I don't
it.
think they should have been trying to find definitive evidence of Bigfoot. That's not, it's not what we're doing here. Come on.
No,
No.
it. There. I, I also am just like all of these people who are just like really it's another this is I think why Bigfoot or Sasquatch hunting is like such an American expression is because it's trying to take itself seriously, and it's doing so in combination with like the very American sense of like trying to like oversell your like expertise or like you having knowledge that most people don't. I agree, most people don't have knowledge of how basic linguistics work. I would even say most polyglots probably don't know the basics of how language theory works, which is basically okay, you can speak multiple languages, but you don't know the foundations of what makes it a language or all of that structure or whatever.
Hmm.
Uh, but you have a guy who is like also this weird old hippie dude who, first of all, sounds like a terrible father who's trying because he says he got into Bigfoot research because his son came to him and said, "Dad, I have to do a school project." And he's like, "What's the school project on?" It's like, "I think I want it to be about Bigfoot." If one of my kids came up to me, I'd have questions of like, why do you want to do Bigfoot? Are you doing an animal thing? American mythology? Conspiracy? Like, I would
Hmm.
want to know what the basis of this project was. Number one. And then just him going like his expertise is this old ass hippie dude was like he spent 20 years as like a language expert in the Navy. But I don't think he said he was a Navy intelligence, which basically just meant that like he probably knew a few foreign languages and then was just doing like monitoring work of like hearing things or trying to translate or like coming in. Like he did not study like semiotics or linguistics very deeply, and he probably was only doing he was probably a decoder, but he wasn't developing like ciphers or anything because he wasn't in intelligence. He probably got stuff from intelligence and was like, here's some reports we have about this group or whatever, here are the code words they use, or here's something they'll do. That's what I'm guessing his expertise is, not like Amy Adams' character in Arrival. Like that's an actual linguist.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's just like, well, I heard sounds and there was repeating, so it must be a language. And it's like, no. You cannot. He's basically taking the Bigfoot recordings and saying, that's language, that's language. It's like, no, you cannot prove it's language. You're just hearing weird guttural sounds. Animals will sometimes repeat symbols when they're just, or sounds when they're just making sounds and having an emotional response. We know it's a language because one of two things is happening. One, we have samples so we can compare a pattern of this sound was made when this Bigfoot was distressed, and this sound, which is the same type of sound, was made when this Bigfoot was distressed. We can start to see patterns. Or you see something, it makes noises, and it is attempting to communicate with you. Neither of those things are happening. It's just like, I heard a thing and there are repeating patterns. It's like, okay.
Which, right, it doesn't prove anything either, because I think I'm pretty sure that a competent linguist could probably tell you if it's human noises or animal noises, because they've studied people speaking in tongues, and they
Yeah.
can tell, oh yeah, this is influenced by the English language. Like what they're saying in their tongue is influenced by the languages they already know. So I'm assuming that somebody in that field could deduce.
Yeah. There's that, number one. And then number two is just they're so he's just like, oh no, it's a language, and it has to be a language because or it can't be a monkey because monkeys don't have the throat to speak, dumbass. And I'm like, dumbass. Voice isn't necessarily a part of language. It's a consistent series of symbols and reference points. Like, also, if you can make noise, you can learn a language or create a language. It's just going to be based on what you can physically do. Like, just because a monkey cannot speak does not mean that it is incapable of language or whatever. And also, how do you know Bigfoot has a human throat?
Well, because they're hybrids.
Yeah, hybrids. Also, did the weird hippie dude also had like I noticed he had a necklace that was one of those like Norse hammer things. So
Oh yeah.
is he just a little hippy dippy or is he
A
problematic?
Nazi. You never know in this day and age.
Listen. He is a man who has very particular he has very particular beliefs about language. That if if Sasquatch is intelligent, then it is another intelligent species. It's not human. It's still something fundamentally different. And he just
Mhm.
has 14 very important words that he likes to think and live his life by.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, this is why Stan is superior, because I feel like they talk about them potentially being peaceful, but they kind of frame them as like they could be violent. They
It's
could be creepy.
you know what it is. You know what it is. It is their absolute certainty. And this is again what we've covered two things in America. We intentionally wanted to be like, let's look at crazy ideas, and then we've unintentionally just come across like the atomization, the enshittification of all aspects of American life. And I think this is another example of that, is because you have these people who are not just like, I have this Bigfoot experience, here's my thing. Like, even the Navajo Ranger guy, like, him I can give kind of a pass to, because it's like, here's what I found about Bigfoot evidence, and then also, I saw a lot of UFOs. Isn't that weird? Desert's crazy. I'm like, okay, dude, I'm interested in your probably self-published autobiography. But you have people like those Sierra Camp guys who's just like, oh, the guy who got the Bigfoot recording, who's just like, I had a terrifying experience and I heard something scary, and now I'm going to talk about esoterra and how the Bigfoot just want to save us because humanity could destroy itself at any point. It's like, you're just throwing shit in other people are talking about. All right. Also, this may be too much of a like niche leftist thing, but are there, I don't want to paint too broad a brush of people who are into Bigfoot, but like, are there right-wing podiatrists who are like, the Bigfoot are against nuclear war and are going to save us all? Like, on the right wing?
I bet we could find one at this point.
I mean, there's that, but it's like, the left has a whole movement of people who think dolphins are alien intelligence and we need to nuke ourselves to bring the workers' revolution. Like, is there as kooky of like a legitimate right-wing movement?
No, I think right now the big movement is just we need to bring about the end times.
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna get anything out of the end time. They just want to bring. Well, they think we have the people that think they'll get something out of the end times by going to
Behold, a
heaven.
pale Sasquatch.
Yeah. His name is Death.
No, it's
Before-
we think that's what death means in their language.
Not the 4 horsemen, the 4 Sasquatches of the apocalypse.
No.
And their friends Stan.
Wrong.
Hold on, Christopher. If you go back to ancient Greek, apocalypse just means a burst of knowledge and rapid change. Apocalypse does not mean the end times. Armageddon is the thing in the Bible that means the end times. An apocalypse leads to Armageddon. So maybe it's a good apocalypse.
But I think ultimately this is why, again, as we go back to our first episode, Stan, he really was just sitting there, a guy in Oregon, just going, yeah, you can walk into one of these, like, interdimensional spaces in the fucking woods and just hang out with them.
Yeah, it's great.
They got husbands,
you gotta be
wives, peaceful. They do come from space.
They do.
And they're vegan, which we love. I think that proves their peaceful nature.
It is also like every definitive or out there claim Stan made. It's not like, I've scienced this out. It's like, why do you believe the Bigfoot are vegan and believe in world peace? Because that's what they told me. And they told me to love one another. So that's why I think Sasquatch believes in that message. It's like, okay. Whereas these people are just like, there's got to be a connection. Don't you think it's weird that there's a bunch of lights whenever we come across Bigfoot? It's like,
we were also, the fucking orbs of... I felt like I was in Ghost Adventures then, too. It was like, we're getting everything. We're getting orbs, ghost orbs, the aliens, Bigfoot.
That's what I mean. Like you have to have some kind of unifying theory if you start bringing all of these things on, or there has to be some consistency. You cannot be... like, there are people who are saying, maybe Sasquatch... It's not he's a vicious monster. It's Sasquatch is a demon from hell. It's like, okay, so wait. UFOs are not angelic or spectral beings. They are, in fact, full-on flying saucers that come to visit us, and they are connected to Bigfoot, who is a demon from literal hell, the pit of despair in which the fallen are to be tortured for all eternity. That seems... Do the aliens know Christ then? And if not, is it our duty as Christians to give them the good news?
No, I think they would supersede God.
They don't like we said before. They don't care about human religion at all. They
No.
don't.
Mm-mm.
Oh, I'm not even saying it has to be biblical. I'm just saying, like, there's a connection. Like, Jesus is there for everyone. Aliens, no Christianity. Okay, whatever. That doesn't make sense. Klingons have 2 dicks and look like humans. I don't care. It's an alien. Let's just deal with reality as it comes to us. Yeah, it's all of that. And then also, I have to say, one of my favorite moments of just, I think the most American thing I've ever seen is the scene on the boat where they're actually in Alaska, and it's good old Dave, and he's trying to get the native perspective, and you see the one Native American man who is willing to say, I am an elder of my tribe. I speak. I am a representative of my tribe. Here is the myth we have about the Sasquatch. And here is how it ties directly into the various Sasquatch sightings and to our belief system. So we believe that this is a fundamental part of our culture. However, I am dubious of his claims, mostly because he says you can learn all about it at the Bigfoot Museum on whatever Alaskan island his tribe lives on. And he is decked out in multiple pieces of clothing that say, what is it? Sasquatch or BigfootIsReal.com. Like, it's just about, he's wearing a bunch of merch promoting the website where they sell things to tourists. It was just so, the man was clearly just like, I am selling a business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that he's like, hey, maybe if you didn't want to be ripped off by a native man, maybe you shouldn't have genocided our people.
Is there anything else to really cover in the doc? It's not long if you want to check it out. It's only what, an hour and a half at most?
Something like that. There are 2 relatively, I know I've been ranting a lot, but there's just 2 relatively minor points I feel I need to bring up, at least for edification. One, I hate the Colorado Bigfoot Museum purely because, and this might be Dave's fault, it has nothing to do with the specific claims made by the guy, but I did not like that guy because Dave made it very clear that it was run by a husband and wife team, and that the husband was from South Africa. And that got me super excited because I love funny voices. And then they show a white guy, and I'm like, yeah, could be real Dutch ass Afrikaners. Like the kind of Afrikaners where English is like the 3rd or 4th language. Like, he learns Afrikaners, then Zulu, then maybe he chooses Dutch before English type thing. Like, oh, it could be this guy. And he just sounds like a dude from Colorado. And I don't want to be stereotypical or hold that against a man because he could have just been born in South Africa and lived his whole life here, but it pissed me off.
You were robbed of your funny voice.
I was well, I was not, because we got the fat British researcher who basically was just like, first of all, it's hilarious, his sense of self-importance. It's like he has an encounter first of all, he has an encounter in the woods that's not even a Bigfoot encounter. So I don't know why the fuck he's in this movie. Oh, I remember. He was like, I, as a researcher, wanted to do the work. So I went into like Yosemite or whatever to research Bigfoot. So I was hunting for Bigfoot, and then I ran into aliens, is basically what his story is. And what's great is when they're trying to determine his credibility, it's like, you're not just anyone. You used to do something for the British government. He's like, yes, I worked with the crown prosecutor to cross-examine witnesses in order to verify and test their claims of the truth. Oh, so you were a lawyer, you were a prosecutor, or you were an investigator for like the DA's office. Like, yeah, that adds some credibility, I guess, but why are you making it sound so self-important? He's just like doing that. Then he basically is like, there has to be a Bigfoot alien connection because I had a terrible experience where I witnessed aliens when I was camping in the woods that I thought I was going to die during. And then he goes to he works with the film to go to like a forensics artist to describe them, and I swear to God, it's just like Ditto from Pokemon trying to be Ash, just without the clothes. Like that's what the aliens look like. And then he just looks at it really, it's like, yes, that's exactly what I saw. It's like, oh, just featureless light, okay. And he's like, and because I was in an area where there were Bigfoot sightings, clearly these two are not only related, but Bigfoot might be an alien.
Yes.
Oh, also, Skinwalker Ranch gets brought up.
Oh yeah, a lot. Like, could we forget Skinwalker Ranch? I mean, they kept bringing it up.
I can tell you how I forgot Skinwalker Ranch. One, fuck that place. Two, the lead scientist, I've like everything I always look into for Skinwalker Ranch is like I never really get into it because it's just everything is so obviously a grift of some kind.
Yeah.
Like I don't even think John Lear gave his seal of approval to any of the claims of Skinwalker Ranch. And this was a man who thought moon people did 9/11 with holograms. So like, you know, there's that. But what's funny is like the lead scientist of it, he sounded and dressed like he was doing a documentary about the Troubles, because he just had this very flat affect tone. He had an Irish accent for some reason, and he's talking about it so like depersonalized, like he's trying to be emotionless, like he like I don't know, an Irish person trying to recount a traumatic event but not wanting to show emotion.
Yeah.
Oh, and then of course he made the claim that aliens had to be involved in Bigfoot because Bigfoot disappears and you need such vast amounts of energy for matter teleportation that, in his words, where are you going to find that energy on Earth? Where are you going to find that energy in the woods? Has to be a spaceship then.
Yeah. Spaceship. Oh, they also talk about predator tech, that they have predator technology.
Oh, like the heat vision?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
yes, and the cloaking.
Wait, Misty, I have to. Oh yeah, no, they do say Bigfoot can cloak himself. Do they refer to it as predator technology, or Misty?
Yes.
You just associate info. Okay.
No, no. The guy said it's like in the
They
movie
got this
Predator. I'm pretty
technology
sure
from
they
the,
said.
the
Okay,
movie
okay.
Predator.
We
Now's
gotta do
our
a review
obligatory. We gotta.
of the 2018 version.
Where autism is a superpower.
Isn't really a disorder. It's actually the next step in the evolution.
Yes, autism is the superpower the predators want. So they tried to kidnap an autistic child.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like a lot of countries sort of like, not consciously probably, but they funnel a lot of autistic people into the military because like they're like good at it.
Yeah.
I don't even know like how much of it has to be. I don't even think it's conspiratorial. I think it is just like an absolute. I think what it is because of our terrible another thing we do terribly in this country is like our talks about like disability and like neurodivergent individuals is, just statistically speaking, if like 1 out of every 100 people has autism or whatever the number is in America, then that means that they're in every single aspect of American society. Like, which means you're gonna have a bunch of just dumb, violent chuds who are like autistic and are like, God, I want to hate minorities and have a perfectly rigid structure. Where else in this country can you go that's going to provide that?
Nowhere.
Yeah.
Nowhere.
Oh my God, they tell me everything I need to do, and it's great. I have no autonomy, but I'm fully covered for my rest of my life, theoretically.
Mm-hmm.
Gives me definitive purpose that I don't need to think about.
Yeah. Gotta love it. But Yeah, I think really the lesson is Stan said it first, and
And
he didn't
best.
need, and the best, and didn't need a whole fancy ass documentary making up bullshit evidence.
No.
You know what I would have respected is if that man just went up and said, like, Bigfoot is real, he can turn invisible to the human spectrum, and he's a vicious killer. And here's my proof of that. And even if the proof was bullshit, it's like, that's a man who has his convictions and experience. Instead, he's all like, oh man, there's a lot of Sasquatches out here in the suburbs of Pittsburgh. Gotta be a Sasquatch, because how else could a mammal look at something 8 feet high?
How?
How?
With their glowing eyes
That's right.
and the glowing orbs.
Which, again, you can only see when we use our very expensive camera equipment that is likely to cause a lot of lens flare issues if you don't know how to work the technology.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. It's
Mhm.
almost as if in certain fields, the more expensive something is, the more complicated it is. But generally speaking, if you're making a consumer product, it's more expensive if it's easier to use because you want to sell it to more people, not people who want to fiddle with a million different features.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll do things
Yep.
like take a picture wrong so that you see something. Oh, I guess the last thing we'll talk about is where just something funny that I mentioned at the start of the documentary is, what was that weird tangent about the Sasquatch in the Canadian nature documentary?
I didn't see that part.
I don't know.
It was in the opening, and he's like, he opens up the film basically going like, you know what really you know, burns my chaps or whatever old timey saying I say to piss off is all these YouTube people just putting things out. He
Oh
is the
yes,
one who's mad of people just irresponsibly
putting stuff
putting
on
things out
YouTube.
there. And it's like, well, and then he shows a clip of like what people say is a Sasquatch, and then in like a herd of wildebeest, and then the reason they think it's that because it's a very humanoid looking figure, and the alleged cameraman, they just, it's funny, he's like, anyone could put anything on YouTube, and then they just show an old guy on YouTube who posted a YouTube video, goes like, I was the cameraman for that documentary.
It's the Garfield meme, you know, with the
Yeah.
sign, no
Yep.
Garfield.
No Garfield. I wonder who's that's for. And then he's just like, oh yeah, it was only us for hundreds of miles. And then it's like, well, we went to the documentary production and we asked for the raw footage, and they used IMAX films. So then because it's an IMAX films, it's like in such high quality. It also does that classic documentary thing of him like just zooming in on his laptop, like his fucking 2019 fucking MacBook could run IMAX footage on it just without problems.
Yes.
But then they zoom in, and then it's just clearly a dude like with a biking backpack and a windbreaker jacket. Like you can't see any features, but it's clearly just someone with a backpack just hiding. And he also does not like interrogate like why this guy thought it was Sasquatch or if he's credible. And then literally what's actually funny is on my viewing, my girlfriend, as soon as we saw the footage of wild caribou, and it's like, and there was something in the background, she just immediately went, oh, is this that movie that hit some controversy because they were actively messing with the caribou to make them run for a better shot? It's like, oh, that would explain why a dude in a backpack was just in the middle of fucking caribou herd. And also why a cameraman would say, yeah, I didn't know it was there, it was Bigfoot. Totally not us violating the Canadian Endangered Species Act. Which would be an added problem because we were probably a government funded documentary.
See, I don't think that the Bigfoot, as we know them, as Stan Johnson talked about, I don't think they can be filmed.
No.
I think if they are, I'm pretty sure they could just magically erase any footage that that happens after the
Yeah.
fact.
I mean, just yeah, it's cool. Just let. I think you just need to be holistic about it. It's just like, let's share our Bigfoot stories and then see how we can come up together. Not we have to have this grand unified theory and then say bullshit like, oh, we got this. Oh, also, just the sample they it looks like just animal hair with like a chunk of skin ripped out, covered in bacon grease,
Yeah.
i.e., like a bear or whatever is just licking this and it's like, oh, I'm stuck. Ow, that was on there more than I thought. Anyway, I'm gonna just go run off. Yeah, just I think it is just like we need to stop grifting. Just like, what are our experiences? Let's talk it out. And also, just like, you know, if you wanted, like, you can do all of the stuff about like, I love how he's like, if people wanted to, they could get a grant, and in 30 days, the government would give them money to look for Bigfoot. Why aren't they doing that? Which was, as someone who's had to write grants in the past, fucking hilarious. That he thinks that's how easy it is. Yeah, just like let's just let people talk. We don't need a unified system of Bigfoot. Uh, as Stan told us, they will reveal themselves when are needed, and we'll know what we need to know.
Exactly.
Yep. True.
And my only hope is that either me or my children are there to see the wonderful Sasquatch apocalypse in the new age who's there. But failing that, fucking Tim Butchert is nowhere near, or is like the one guy they go like, fuck you, man. Fuck off. How dare you do that to UFOs? You've ruined and sullied a good thing. Should we just actively try and antagonize this man? Because I mean, it helps that he is legitimately a horrific politician who has horrific political beliefs. But should we just start attacking this man mercilessly?
I mean, we're just gonna let you do your thing.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Start attacking him.
Can you slander a congressman? Interesting. I'll have to do some legal research. So 50 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
We did it.
We did it. Suck it, all those AI written emails that said most podcasts stop after the first 6 episodes.
Yeah, we didn't stop.
We didn't buy your program, and we kept going because of probably some diagnosed and undiagnosed mental illness to deal with the chaotic times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess we'll keep going. Let's see if we go for another 50 more.
Okay, first of all, like, I think we can, because just knowing if now are they going to be good episodes, who knows, but if we're just going to let me rant, we got quite a backlog. Yeah, we actually need to read if we can get a copy of Stan Johnson's book.
Yeah.
There's that. And yeah, I could probably get a good just like 2 episodes just screaming at Tim Butchert. He probably supports some terrible things I don't even know about, but yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think we have many more things to discuss.
We do.
Eventually, that Art Bell movie is gonna come out.
Oh
That
yeah,
is gonna
that's coming
be
out too. That's gonna be
be
fun.
great. It's gonna be so good. Paul Giamatti, great choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a good choice. I feel like it's gonna be a lot of like petty drama about like the radio host drama.
See, here's the thing.
What?
My concern about the movie is that, I don't know specifically and I don't want to like speculate, but I think there were some difficult times in Art Bell's life.
Oh, of course, yes.
And I am worried that it's going to be like a way to overcome, or they're going to lean way too
Perseverance.
much into the.
Yeah.
It's going to be a smaltzy look at what he overcame or how he formed a community of weirdos, or they're going to really lean in to like the paranormal and do a little meta. I would love a movie about Art Bell starring Paul Giamatti about just his weird petty beefs.
Yes.
Of just that the origin story he likes to claim about Coast to Coast is that like Coast to Coast was originally just like a normal right-wing talk show late night in Vegas, and then just Art was like, I'm tired of talking about gun control for the millionth time. I don't know, aliens. And then it's just like, I'm not saying it was a spite move, but it's clearly like, I never have to talk about this again. Because I know Art Bell had some very strong views about firearm ownership, and I do not think there is a single Second Amendment mention in any of the Coast to Coast episodes I've listened to.
When he talks about it, he's just like weapons are like tools.
Yeah.
I don't think he talks about. I don't know if he talks about. Well, he was talking about it when he was talking about the shooting, the mass shooting.
Oh yeah.
He did the whole Republican line of like mental health or whatever. But I think he had his views, but he just really he hated the constant arguing about it. Right.
I'm gonna be honest. I could deal with an entire movie about Art Bell's life from Halloween of 2010 to 2013. And I mentioned that because that was the last time he hosted Coast to Coast was in October of 2010. And then just whatever made him embitter and start another radio program. Just like whatever petty grievances. And I'm sure it's not all personal.
All right,
like,
I have
you
this
wronged
booth
me,
for
George
6 more
Norrie.
minutes.
All right. It's like, it's more than just like, you've wronged me, George Norrie. It is also like, my program was about bringing the common man's view of ghosts and cryptids to the public. And now they're bringing in all of these people who are like, I've studied time travel, so here's my thing about it, as opposed to me, who interviewed a man who claimed to build a time machine in rural Missouri and then went to prison for a while because he fucked up the power grid with his homemade time machine.
Do the thing.
Do the thing for American Dreamland. I'm Max Chavez.
I'm Misty Stone.
I'm Christopher Locken.
Keep on squatching, folks. Keep on squatching.